Hi everybody, hello. I don't know why my camera is not working. Okay, now it's working. Okay, all right. So thank you very much for watching. My channel now has more than 4,000 subscribers, and I'm super happy that my content is helping more than 4,000 people. And thank you very much for watching this, and let's celebrate. Thank you very much. So today I was thinking how I can help you with your English pronunciation, or maybe about American culture, or American, living in the US or working with American people. If you have any questions about that, please put in the chat, and make sure that you see the chat, and that's where you can put your question there so that I can help you personally with whatever your question is. All right, so thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. I'm super happy that my content is helping so many people. I started this channel in 2017, January, not knowing what I was doing. I was really new to YouTube, and I didn't know how to start, but I started it anyway, and now I've created more than 500 videos for this YouTube channel, and yeah, I'm learning day by day to create better content for you. So if you have any requests for future content, future topics, this is your chance to put in the chat and let me know. And also, if you have any questions, please put in the chat. All right. Okay, so I have some questions that a lot of people ask me, so I will go over that. So if you are like me, a non-native English speaker, and I was really afraid of speaking English in front of native English speakers. So I get this question a lot, which is, how do you gain confidence? This is about building your confidence. How do you build your confidence, or how do you feel that you are confident to speak English in front of native English speakers? So I always get this question. And then, hello, yes. Well, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat, and then I can read your question after this question too. So how do you build your confidence speaking English in front of native English speakers? First, I was really self-conscious about my English before, and I was really afraid of speaking in the US. And then imagine, or maybe you're in that situation, you're afraid of speaking English in the US, and English is the main language to use, right? So I used to speak really quietly, and then I was trying to speak really fast because I just wanted to finish the conversation, right? And then just, leave, leave right away, because I was really scared. So that was me. So if you want to build your confidence, though, you want to slow down. So my suggestion is to maybe join Toastmasters, or, have some support for you to practice public speaking in front of native English speakers. But at the same time, what you can do is to slow down, especially when you're nervous, especially when you are not sure if your English is good enough. But I want you to slow down, because slowing down is the first key, and speak more loudly. So when you slow down and speak more loudly, what will happen, right? So for example, if I speak like this and with my really quiet voice and then I speak really fast, what do you think? And if I speak really slowly with a loud voice, what kind of impressions do you have about me? Right? I didn't really say anything important, but what you got was first one, when I was speaking like this and really fast with a quiet voice, you felt like I wasn't really confident, right? But then I slowed down and I spoke really clearly with a loud voice. What happened? I looked more confident, right? So if you are not confident or if you get really nervous speaking English in front of native English speakers, the first thing you can do is to slow down. This is what I always tell my clients: slow down, right? When you slow down, especially when you're nervous, because when you're nervous, you want to rush, you want to speak really fast and finish it, but stop it. Slow down, and project your voice. It'll make you look confident right away. And as you slow down, you may calm down your mind as well. So maybe your nervousness will disappear or it'll be reduced, right? So that's the first thing, slowing down. And the second thing is to project your voice. You can do those two things to build your confidence in an English environment. Let me know if this was helpful because a lot of people ask me this question. All right, so if you have any questions about English pronunciation or English overall or American culture, like living in the US or working with Americans, please put in the chat so that I can read your comments. Okay. So the next question is D and TH. I just had this question today, so thank you very much for asking this. So D and TH, for you, they may sound the same right now. So this is something that you always want to remember. Some sounds that you may hear are not exactly the sounds that you're hearing. You may be filtering the sounds and then you are understanding the sounds within the sounds you know. I hope this makes sense because once you're able to identify some sounds, you will start hearing more sounds. But your listening or hearing ability is not becoming better. It is about how you listen to sounds becomes better. Sounds were already there, always there, but now you know how to focus and you can recognize new sounds. So you can distinguish sounds better, right? Better than before. Thank you for joining. I know more people just joined. So if you have any questions, please put in the chat. And if you have any requests for future content, please put in the chat so that I will think about what kind of topics that I can talk about in the future on this YouTube channel. So thank you very much for joining. And I'm super happy to see that 13 people are watching this. So thank you. Thank you very much. Yay! So let me know if you have any questions. You can just say hi. I want to see who is watching and, to see if I recognize your name, whatever, you can just put in the chat and just say hi or ask me questions. So this is your chance to ask questions. So I'm talking about the difference between D and TH because someone recently asked me this question. I mean, today actually. So D and TH are very, very difficult for Japanese people, and I'm sure they are difficult for a lot of non-native English speakers because TH is a unique sound, right? they don't really, th doesn't exist in many languages, especially in Asian languages, right? Th is foreign to Asian people, right? So in order to learn th, or in order to distinguish th sound, you need to project your voice and be able to feel the vibrations, especially on your tongue. So d, 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 d. It's more like vibrations around your hard palate, and then this part vibrates, and then you stop the vibrations with your tongue. So your tongue doesn't really feel the vibrations when you pronounce D, but TH. TH is a fricative. It's a long consonant sound. It's a long sound. D is kind of short, but TH is really long. And when you create TH sound, you will actually really feel the strong vibrations on your tongue. Not the tip. Yeah, maybe tip, and then right here. Like that. So when you say they, D-A-Y, and T-H-E-Y, they and they, 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 you will start feeling different vibrations on your tongue. So that's the difference between D and TH. They are very different, but I didn't hear the difference before because I couldn't pronounce them. I was pronouncing TH as D. And then my American friends told me, hey, Aiko, TH is not D. But then I didn't know what they were saying because what I heard was D, right? Both D. And then I was pronouncing as they were pronouncing it. And I didn't really get this concept until I was actually able to produce TH sound. And it took me about like 1.5 years to really understand this. So every day when I was driving, I was saying this phrase, did they do that? Did they do that? So D and TH, DTH, right? Did they do that? So I was practicing this sentence every day, almost for every day for 1.5 years when I was driving anytime, right? So then finally I got this vibrations in my mouth. Until then, I didn't know, but when I got it, I started hearing the differences and I cannot go back anymore. I cannot pronounce TH with D anymore because my mind now knows what TH is, right? So if you don't know the difference between D and TH right now, I highly recommend that you practice every day this sentence. Did they do that? And then start feeling the different vibrations on your tongue. Alright, thank you. はい、はじめまして、早速質問です。Thank you for your question. 単語の発音や短いフレーズは割と上手に発音できるのですが、長いセリフになるとリズムとイントネーション、音程感が崩れるというか、非ネイティブ感が出てしまいます。これすっごいよくわかる。練習方法や気をつけるフォーカスポイントがあれば、ぜひ教えてください。シャドーイングだと真似できるけど、音のサンプルがないものを朗読するときや、自分が考えた文をその場でアウトプットするといまいちです。Yeah, I really get this. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my suggestion is to focus on the stress patterns, meaning stressed, where would you put stress on which syllables? Because you want to know the difference between Japanese and English. Japanese is pitch accent language. English is stress language. When we hear English, we convert that sound into pitch accent language. That's why you feel like you are working on rhythm and intonation, right? You didn't talk about stress, but the stress is the important part of English language. Maybe you didn't even think of it. So for example, this is very interesting because now I'm in Sapporo, and then with my husband, American, and then or when I listen to American people talking in Japanese words, let's say this is in the subway. So Nishi 11丁目. There is a station in Sapporo called Nishi 11丁目. And then the subway announcement in Japanese goes Nishi 11丁目. Nishi 11丁目, right? And then the English goes, the next station is Nishi 11丁目. I noticed that in Japanese, Nishi 11丁目, and in English, it's Nishi 11丁目. You might notice that the intonation is almost opposite. But what you want to focus on is the stressed syllable. Nishi. Not Nishi. Nishi. See, ni and shi had the same strength, right? Because Japanese doesn't have this stressed and unstressed syllables, right? Japanese doesn't have syllables. We have mora, which is haku, right? But English has syllables, which are very, very, very different. So when you listen to Nishi 11丁目, the person is saying ni, putting the stress on ni, right? You're thinking Nishi has two syllables, and the first one is stressed, right? So when you think about English, think about where you are putting stress, right? So when you look at the dictionary, and especially for long words like pronunciation, right? Not pronunciation, right? It's pronunciation. You might think about the intonation, but the key behind it that maybe you're not seeing is the stress patterns. So work on stress patterns, and you already know the intonation and the rhythm. Adding this layer of stress syllables, your English will flow more. So try this and let me know how it goes. All right, thank you very much for your question. And R の発音ができなくて困ってます。Yes, I know R is like in at UCLA, I learned that one research I read, or maybe my professor mentioned, my phonetics professor mentioned that there is a research paper about R for American English, and the person found 23 ways to pronounce American R. So imagine it's just American English. There are more in the world, right? Like British, Australian. There are so many different R in the world. Just for American English, there are 23 ways to pronounce R. So each person pronounces R differently, and that is okay. But for Japanese, this is where I come in. For Japanese speakers to pronounce R, you want to point your tongue down to pronounce R, or straight, and then you want to squeeze your tongue and tense up, and then pull back a little bit. So when your tongue has really good tension, you will feel that your tongue becomes narrower. So that's what you want to make in your mouth. But this muscles, a lot of Japanese people don't have this muscle, right? Because in the Japanese language, we don't need to use muscles when we speak Japanese, right? So chances are you may not have this muscle. And until you have this muscle, pronouncing R is it's difficult, right? So in that case, I highly recommend that you don't curl your tongue up, but rather have it straight or down and pronounce And then at the same time, you can work on your tongue, make it triangle like that. This is relaxed and tense. When you practice it, I always practice this tongue muscle, especially like during COVID. We had the mask, right? So underneath my mask, I was always doing like muscle practice underneath my mask. So this type of muscle training, I highly recommend that you do it. Like think about producing like er like has really like strong sound inside of your mouth, right? And then you don't have to pronounce it, just contract your tongue and just do like that, and then train your muscle, and you will be able to pronounce R easily. So if I don't speak English for like maybe like 2 weeks, and then if I try to speak English right away, I always have a hard time. This is why I try to speak English almost every day, whenever, like even in Japan, I try to use English almost every day so that I won't forget or I don't lose this muscle, because it's like muscles, it takes time to build muscle, but if you don't use it, you will lose it, and you will lose it right away, right? So I don't want you to lose the muscle once you build it. So I highly recommend that you start working on building your muscle, tongue muscle, like this, contract it, right? And then keep doing it so that you don't lose it. And then there are so many ways to produce R sound. So I don't know if you have my course, but in Module 9, I talked about R, L and R, taking 1 hour. So that's something that I recommend. Like get the textbook and then really learn the differences between L and R and also different R's, because there are so many different R's. But in my textbook, I talk about 3 ways to pronounce R. So, but the first step is to start building your muscles, tongue muscles like this. All right, thank you. He の発音が he の発音が he とは違うと聞きました。主に H の発音が違うのか、E に近い母音が違うのかよくわからないので教えていただきたいです。All right, so what you want to think about is that Japanese and English are totally different. You can't even put like he and he, they're totally different. With different vibrations, different tongue position, different feeling when I say he, the English sound he, and Nihongo no he. They're very, very different, right? So first, you want to separate English and Japanese. Like overall, they're very different. Nothing overlaps. Nothing. Like no Japanese sounds are how do you say? No Japanese sounds are in English. Does that make sense? Japanese and English, they don't overlap at all. I don't know how to like really express, because think about it, the structure is different, right? The structure is very different. When you think about it, and the culture is different, almost opposite. So what about pronunciation? They're almost opposite. They don't overlap at all. Like nothing is the same, right? So you want to, well, first think about that they are totally different things. And as long as you think about English using Japanese sounds, you're not going to get to the English sounds, because they're on the other side of the sounds, right? So I hope this makes sense because yes, you have Japanese to learn English, right? So at some point you want to separate Japanese to get the English sounds, and then it took me a while to do this, and that's why I'm telling you, because it took me for a while to really understand that English and Japanese, they don't overlap. Right, sound wise, it took me a while to really understand it. So my recommendation is to start separating them. They are not the same, they're totally different. Just know that, right? So to answer your question, they're very different, they're not the same. So you don't want to think that the English sound he is he. No, they're very very different. So 主に H の子音が違うのか。Everything is different. How is that? Everything is different. Just know that. But what's the difference, right, between he and he? So breathing is very different. I'm using two different types of breathing. So when I speak English, my voice is like this. But 日本語を話すときはこう英語とは違う部分でこう発声している感じ。So when I change to English, which I talked about it in the free workshop video, when you go to the description box, you will see it. But I changed my breathing, right? When I speak like this, と日本語を話すとき、I feel like I use a larger part of my body to speak English. It's like a sport. It's like a sport. I'm using more muscles to speak English. で、日本語を話すときは、なんかこう、使う部分がすごいこう狭まる感じ。発音、なんか振動もすごい少なくなるし、呼吸もそんなにしなくていいし、なんか日本語を話すときの方が、なんかこう、あんまり体力とかも使わない。でも、英語の方は、I use a lot of energy to produce English. So that's one thing. Breathing is very different in English and Japanese, right? And then the consonants. So when you look at the IPA chart for the consonants, you might think that, oh, it's the same symbol. But no. This is why, そう、だからすごい、この同じね、H っていう、but it's he, right? He. これ H の子音じゃないんですよね。It is, can I use this? I hope that you can see it. 日本語の日はこれ。But he in English is he, right? H, right? So they're very different because he, palatal, fricative. This is glottal, fricative. So H, he is coming from your throat, but 日本語のhe is from palatal, 下の真ん中よりも後ろの方、この辺、he. So it's different, very different consonants, by the way. They are different. And the vowel, oh my gosh, the vowels are so different. E, he. 日本語のいよりもすごい下がる感じ。So when you say あいうえおあい、especially E and U, you feel your tongue is high, and that's so much higher than the English. So you want to bring down your tongue down to pronounce E. Even though when you see the vowel chart, like for some people, I know English coaches out there, so you might have seen this vowel chart, right? And then you learn that E is up here, which is high vowel, right? But what I noticed for Japanese speakers, our Japanese tongue is higher, much, much higher than this one. So even though in the vowel chart it says high, E is high tense vowel, still bring it down. And chances are your tongue was too high for saying he. So just bring it down so that you will have more air coming out. The key is to feel more air when you pronounce he. And also more power, more like deeper breath. All right, great question. Hello, Aiko sensei. Thank you. どなたでしょう? Do I know you? I hope. I'm not sure if I can recognize you. Yoko-san. Okay. Hi, Aiko-san. I'm one of your... Thank you. I'm one of her clients and learned a lot from her. I recommend her lesson to everyone here. Yoko-san, ありがとうございます. Well, if you have any questions, please comment here. Third day course. 動画の中の話の中の、英語の息の流れについての質問です。Yes, yes, yes. Good. Yeah.Alright, timely ですね。英語を、発話では舌の上に息が流れるのを感じるという話があり、一方で英語で実際に使う息はスプーン1杯分程度。この2点は相愛するようにも思います。もう少し詳しく教えてください。I know, right? I know. This is like really difficult and I'm still learning it nowadays. So このスプーン1杯分程度っていう風に教えてくれたのは私の歌の先生。ハワイのオアフ島に住んでらっしゃる。So he was saying that he's Japanese American, but he doesn't speak Japanese. You know, his voice, he looks Asian, right? Because he's Japanese Hawaiian, Japanese American, but his voice is really like, native English speaker. And then he said that, you don't waste, like singers, like good singers, they don't waste any air. So even though it requires a lot of power and air to sing, they can sing longer because they don't waste sounds, right? They don't waste their breath. That's what he was saying. And then I realized that at that time I was leaking my air like this. Hello, my name is Aiko Hemingway and I used to speak like this. Felt that all the air leaked. Right? So what I'm saying that I feel very strong breath on my tongue. That is because the air is focused. And I can speak for a long time without inhaling again because I don't waste my air. But I used to speak like this. Hello, I used to speak like this. I was wasting a lot of air. And what is the difference? My air was really scattered. So when your air when your breath is scattered, you will not feel strong airflow on your tongue because it's scattered, right? And you're wasting air. But once you're able to focus, because English sounds needs to have focused air. I think I talked about it on day 2. No, day 1. You want to go back and listen to it again. Find where I mentioned it. When you start focusing air, it's like mushimegane, right? It's like that, when you're able to focus and the sun sun hits the lens, and then you can start a fire. Focus is the key. So my suggestion is to start feeling the air on your tongue. That means your air is focused. When your air is focused, you're able to keep going without inhaling again. So that took me a while, because it's like two separate things, right? You feel like, how do you focus air, but then, you don't have to use a lot of air. What's that mean? I feel strong air on my tongue, but I'm not wasting any air. If you're wasting a lot of air, you won't feel your breath on your tongue at all, because it's all scattered and then you're out of breath. So I hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have additional questions. All right, the next question. シャドーイングの時に息が続かなくなるのは、oh yeah, so I just answered your question too. Yes. So it is about how to use your breath. Yes. So I just explained it, right? Alright. And then 次が、先ほどの質問が途中になっていました。R の発音に関して、rarely など R のある位置によって R の発音の仕方は違います。はい。違うのでしょうか？はい。違います。また、R の下の作り方がわからないのと、自分で発音できているかの判断ができないので、それをするときに正しい方向に進んでいるのかがわからず困っています。Yes, I know, I get it. So when you practice English pronunciation, you really want to have someone to tell you how you are doing it, because you're going to go to a different direction. And then once you build a bad habit, it's so hard to correct your direction to go to the right direction, right? So I highly recommend that you ask someone who is professional, like myself, like people who know about English pronunciation. You really want to have the feedback. Like, for example, I used to ask pronunciation questions to my American friends, but they didn't really understand my questions, right? Like, Aiko, you're saying this, but then they don't know how to explain it, like why. They don't know why I cannot pronounce English words, because they don't know the difference between English and Japanese. And especially for native English speakers, they cannot really explain why they pronounce it in the way that they pronounce, and they don't really understand why we, the non-native speakers, are having a hard time. So my recommendation is to have someone who understands your pain, your struggle, because like myself, I struggled a lot. I did so many different things to improve my English and my pronunciation. And then I met so many different people. I asked so many questions to different people. A lot of times they didn't know how to teach me English pronunciation. This is why I was struggling a lot. And once I discovered accent reduction, like this is what I do, right? I teach English pronunciation. That's accent reduction. It had so much information that most Americans don't know, or most native English speakers don't know, because they speak English naturally. They never thought of how English sounds work. Like I don't know anything about Japanese sounds, because I never thought of it. I cannot explain how to pronounce Japanese sounds, because I am able to pronounce them without thinking, right? So it's very hard for native speakers to explain their language. So my recommendation is to have someone who is not a native English speaker, ideally, and ask the person to give you feedback. So that's my profession. That's what I do too. So I hope that you will find someone. If you wanna hire me, I can be your coach too. But having someone is really, really important. And then I highly recommend that too. And yes, there are so many different ways to pronounce R. And especially for Japanese speakers, I feel that if you know 3 ways to pronounce R, that'll help. So rarely. So the first R, re, is a consonant. The second R, rare, that is a vowel, right? So R can be a vowel and a consonant called approximant. They're half consonant and half vowels like L, R, W, and Y. Those sounds are considered as approximants, right? So that's why they're, very difficult. But when you think about the sound R, it's a rarely, that is consonant. So you want to start your tongue with this position and then move forward. Right? And then when you get to re, you move your tongue back. Rare. So never go up like this. Never this way, but this way. So rare, and the L. So you want to touch the upper teeth and come down. Rarely. And then you want to do it very slowly. So when I try to when I was learning words like rarely, it's very difficult, right? Particularly or literally or totally, like those difficult words, I used to take time, one syllable at a time, and then checking my tongue position, and then do it one by one. Right? And then have someone to check your pronunciation. That is the next step. All right, so let me know if you have any more words that you want to work on. All right, thank you. Thank you for answering my question. Oh my God, the stress is a new idea to me. Yes, I'll keep it in mind. I really appreciate it. All right, thank you very much for asking. R の先ほどのご説明ですが、tensed で引くのと舌を V の形にするのは同時にするのでしょうか？それとも2つは違う発音方法でしょうか？ So two things. ギュッて力を入れるっていう動きと引くっていう動きは they are two separate things, right? So you don't want to mix that. But for R は力を入れる。さっきのレを発音したときは力を入れた状態から後ろからスタート。下は下がっていて、right? で、次は rare のときは rare 今度は力をギューって入れながら後ろに入る。Right? So it's the combination of tensing your tongue and moving your tongue this way. So I said there are 3 ways to pronounce R, right? So it's about when to tense up your tongue and then when to pull your tongue. So that's why there are so many ways to pronounce R. Hope that makes sense. All right. And the next question. 個別の子音の区別の、質問になってしまいますが、日本語で似たように聞こえる音を区別することは日本語にない音を区別することよりも難しく感じています。例えば学習を進めると L と R を区別することはできるようになりましたが、Vision の第二音節の子音と Just の先頭の子音の区別が難しいです。どのようなトレーニングをしていけばよいでしょうか？教えていただければ嬉しいです。That's a difficult one because you really have to have to vision のじは right? Vision, right? And then just what? Right? To Americans, because I always ask questions, like weird questions. What are the difference between j and j? Or do you ever mix up between j and j? But some words like message, massage, message. こっちかな message. なんか舌が下がっててもいいような気がするな。So some words, maybe either way is fine, but a lot of times native English speakers instantly understand the tongue position. It's not just this, but N sound is like, you gotta put your tongue up. Wait, how do you know that my tongue was not up? So same thing for this. So if you say just with, I pronounced it just, right? But when I say the word with just, yeah, they will know because I made a different sound. So for example, okay, I'm thinking about ちょっとあんまり専門的なところにあんまり発音とかを出さないで、専門的なところに行かないで説明したい。これは、そうね。Okay, so one thing that you need to know is that you want to put your tongue up for D. See, because it's there. D is there, right? So, j. And then when we Japanese try to say ja, our tongue is not up, right? So we tend to pronounce this one more often than this. So you want to be aware of the words that have this sound. So like just is one example, right? So when I say like, oh yeah, so it's just gonna, even in a daily conversation, like, oh, it's just gonna be okay. Let's say this sentence. It's just gonna be okay. So everyone at this monitor, just say it's just gonna be okay. In a daily conversation, it'll be really fast, right? Oh, it's just gonna be okay. But then I noticed that I am hitting the tongue. I'm really pronouncing this sound clearly. Just. It's just gonna be okay. It's yeah. I'm still hitting this consonant. It's just gonna be okay. I'm not really pronouncing this word. It's just, I'm not really saying T, and I'm not really just gonna be okay. Gonna be like, I'm not really pronouncing like around here. It's just gonna be okay, right? I'm not really pronouncing those vowels clearly. But then what I noticed is that I'm pronouncing ts, right? Just gonna, it's either ts or s at least, because you don't want to skip s anyway. And it's just, yeah, it's just gonna be okay. So even though I'm not saying every single sound, I feel like I'm really pronouncing j with my tongue up. So you don't wanna miss this. So the difference between vision, your tongue is not up, and then create the sound around your lower teeth, and then feel the vibration. Do you feel the vibrations? zh, zh. And for just, j, 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 two different sounds. But once you realize that, to me, I didn't know the difference, right? So they sounded the same to me. So maybe it's the case for you right now. But once you recognize those two different vibrations, you cannot go back anymore because you will instantly know the difference. And then when you're speaking, so this is the ultimate goal for everyone. I mean, ultimate goal for me at least was that when I'm pronouncing sounds, I instantly notice the if I said it right or incorrectly, because I felt the vibrations inside of my mouth. So once you recognize the vibrations inside of your mouth, you are not going to, like, you are no longer able to ignore the wrong sounds. So you will instantly understand the difference already. Yeah, so for it's not just this and this, but N, for example, is very difficult too. L and R, it took me 17 years to really understand, right? So like ear and year, D and TH, or another ones, very difficult. But once you start focusing on the vibrations, different vibrations inside of your mouth, you'll be able to recognize the differences, and you cannot go back anymore. So that is the ultimate place for you. 振動を違うことを感じることが大切だということが理解できました。ありがとうございます。Yes, everything is frequency, right? Frequency is everything in this universe. So focus on the vibrations when you are producing sounds. You will notice so many different things. All right, awesome. Okay, so thank you very much for your questions. Do you have any other questions? I think it's been 52 minutes, so I will wrap up soon. But if you have any more questions, please let me know. Let me know. And if you don't have access to my free workshop video yet, I put that in the description box, and you can learn more about air, vibrations, and energy of American English. I went deeper in, I talked about more about those three concepts. I mean, I talked about a little bit here by answering your questions, but I talked about more in depth in the free workshop video. So if you haven't checked it out, you are missing big time. So please check that out. It's in the description box. And also, I am starting a membership where you can ask me questions like this regularly. That's another difficult word, but anyway, you ask me few words to pronounce today, like rarely or just. I explained it like this and gave you some example sentence to work on. So I'm planning to do it, and it is open to non-native English speakers. So it's not just for Japanese, but for everyone who is learning English pronunciation. And I will put that in the comment section so that you can check it out. And long-term commitment is the key to improving English pronunciation, because it doesn't happen overnight, right? So if you're committed to working on your pronunciation in the long run with a group of non-native English speakers, this membership is the place to be, and you will be able to meet incredible people around the world, and I would like to create a community like that. So thank you very much for watching today, and I will do Q&A like this, but in the membership I will be doing it regularly in the community. So if you want to join, please join, and I will see you there. All right, so thank you very much for watching and supporting this channel. I am super happy that I got some great questions today. Thank you very much for your questions, and I will definitely use your questions for the future content. So thank you very much for supporting and helping my channel. All right, so talk to you later. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again and communicate with you through chat. It was very nice to get to know you. So thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.